This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you already know this, and I already know it too, that truer words have never been said. It never has mattered who the host is. And what has always has mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Thursday, December the 4th of 2025, day 338th of the year, and only 27 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yeah, infiltration and Radio Big has always kind of been the combination of things that we do. So there you go. Anyways, our show is consistent of safety in the news and safety, just in case you are not aware. If this is your first time here, or if you're a returner and you're not sure exactly what the hell's going on, that's kind of how it goes. We talk a little bit about this, we talk a little bit about that, but we talk about some major news stories that are going on inside of the multiverse, or sometimes even some hidden news stories that most people will not find. And then we bring in our friends from Feature Story News for them to talk about what the hell is going on with some of the main stories. And then if you want to have a level of interaction, just a level of interaction, all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, boom, simple process, because you'll click and it'll tell you, what do you want to do? Audio, video, or text messaging? So you get the pick right there on what the hell you want to do. Simple process. You'll get excited. I'll get excited. And we'll all say, this is how the world turns.
Another reason people tune into this show.
It smells good. It just feels so warm and cozy.
It is cozy, but the smell, we beg to differ.
Yeah, you know, it's warm and cozy and stuff, but yeah, the smell stuff is definitely an issue, but we can leave that for another day. If you're touring the studio, we'll talk about what we think it is. So there you go. Okay, so a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So there you go. There you go. There you go. So as we go through our process this morning and talk a little bit about everything, understand that this is our numero uno of this 3-hour show. Only the first hour is on video and on a podcast. We go from simulcasting on Safety FM and on Radio Big to exclusively to Radio Big for hour 2 and 3. Just a little FYI on what is going on. And that's how we do it. Outside of that, part of the podcast network is involved with Safety FM. And then what we do is we have a crap load of hosts inside of that network of stuff that we get to do differently. Everyone from Todd Conklin to Andrea Baker, Mart Florio, Let's see, Jill James, Blaine J. Hoffman, all kinds of people are just throughout the whole network. And that's not limited to Sheldon Primus that comes on directly after me, or if you hang out at night here with Safety Words with Jim Posel. So, I mean, I'm just telling you, just a plethora of stuff. And believe me, if you really want to get into some finite detail stuff, as of late, listen to Brandon Wiseman with Truck Safe Live, and that will tell you a lot of stuff that's going on inside of the world of DOT. So if you can think of it, we probably have some show in here that will reference it. I'm just telling you, because that's how much the stuff changes around in regards to what we're doing. So there you go. Anyway, so why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's go ahead and bring in our friends from Feature Story News and let them tell you what the hell's going on.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Feature Story News in Paris, I'm Ross Cullen. Officials from the US and Ukraine are due to hold fresh talks in Miami on ending the war with Russia on Thursday. Meanwhile, Ukraine's European allies say they will continue to bolster Kyiv against the Russian invasion. White House correspondent Steve Holland says it's seen as a legacy issue by US President Donald Trump.
He had some success there in Gaza. That's a fragile ceasefire that's still holding. But this one is very elusive, and Trump will tell you in great detail about the casualties and the problems there, but he's resistant to putting more pressure on the Russians so far.
The number of people who died in Hong Kong's worst fire in decades has risen to 159. Police say they have completed a search inside all 7 of the 8 high-rise buildings hit by the blaze that first broke out last Wednesday and took until Friday to be extinguished. About 30 people remain missing. Laura Westbrook reports.
Police haven't ruled out the death toll rising further as they continue their forensic testing. Meanwhile, mourners continue to stream to a small park near the site of the fire, placing flowers and handwritten notes as they pay tribute to the victims, the youngest of whom was a 1-year-old baby and the oldest 97. Authorities earlier said the fire on the estate, which was undergoing major renovations, was likely made worse by the use of netting that did not meet fire-resistant standards. While the disaster has led to calls for accountability and reform, officials are also monitoring for any unrest linked to the incident, with Beijing's national security arm in Hong Kong on Wednesday condemning external hostile forces that have seized upon the disaster to stir up trouble and incite chaos. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
The US is reportedly preparing an immigration enforcement operation targeting hundreds of Somalis in Minnesota. The New York Times reports that the operation will start this week. Tony Waterman reports.
According to the New York Times, the operation will include so-called strike teams comprised of ICE officers, agents, and other federal officials. Roughly 100 people have been brought in for the operation. The mission will reportedly focus on the hundreds of Somalis with final deportation notices, but others could be swept up as well. The president on Tuesday described Somalis as garbage, saying he didn't want them in the country. His immigration crackdown has intensified after last week's shooting of 2 National Guard troops, allegedly at the hand of an Afghan national. The Somali community in Minnesota has also drawn criticism after federal prosecutors charged 47 people with stealing hundreds of millions of dollars in COVID-19 funding that was meant to feed children during the pandemic. Tony Waterman, Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today looking at the standoff between the Trump administration and the singer Sabrina Carpenter. The 26-year-old took exception this week when the White House used her song Juno to accompany a video about detainees being rounded up on America's streets by the president's Immigration and Customs Enforcement Division at the Department of Homeland Security. Branding the video evil and disgusting, Ms. Carpenter warned President Trump in her words never to involve me or my music to benefit your inhumane agenda. Alison Stewart-Allen is an international branding expert and CEO of International Partners Marketing.
Sabrina Carpenter, in her own right, is an extremely successful pop star. Ultimately, she wants to keep control of her intellectual property. And having that intellectual property stolen to some degree and used without her permission and without her getting any money, or her record label getting money, I mean, it's about controlling where your artistry body is shown. And, who she may not want this to be hurting her reputation and her brand. And that makes a lot of sense for artists to do this.
Many other artists have had similar brushes with the unauthorized use of their music by President Trump, but none has been as outspoken in warning him to desist as Sabrina Carpenter. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And the top stories once more. Negotiators from Ukraine and the US will meet in Florida on Thursday after inconclusive peace talks in Moscow. On a visit to China, the French President Emmanuel Macron has called on his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping to increase outreach on the war in Ukraine and to rebalance global trade. And the number of people who died in Hong Kong's worst fire in decades has now risen to 159. That's the latest feature story news. Ross Cullen reporting from Paris.
Jingle your bells and deck your halls.
That sounds really painful.
Another holiday hit happens right now.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
You ever hit the wall, burn out, stressed, or just feeling that everything is piling up and thought, yeah, I probably need to talk to someone? The problem is finding the therapist who actually takes your insurance feels impossible at times. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes mental health care easy to access and actually affordable. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, so the average copay is about $15 a session, sometimes even less. With Rula, you get matched with the right therapist for you, not just whoever's available. Their network has over 15,000 licensed professionals, and you can book an appointment as soon as tomorrow. No wait list, no frustrations, just therapy that works with your schedule and your insurance. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that actually covered by insurance. Visit Rula.com/safetyfm to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you there. That's RULA.com/safetyfm. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. Go to Rula.com/safetyfm right now to get started. That's RULA.com/safetyfm because you deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, PhD. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, PhD. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
Embrace a daily boost of nature with Field of Greens. Discover the simple power of one scoop to elevate your well-being. Enjoy the flavor that appeals to you the most and let the blend of organic fruits and vegetables enhance your life. Experience the following benefits with Fields of Greens. Noticeable energy increase to power you throughout the day.
Improved quality of sleep.
Enhanced digestive comfort and a general uplift in your wellness. Field of Greens stands out with the selection of organically grown ingredients, each carefully picked for its benefits to your heart and overall health. We are confident that you'll appreciate the benefits of Field of Greens. If it doesn't meet your expectations, we offer a straightforward money-back guarantee. Jumpstart your health journey with a special offer, 15% off your first purchase plus complimentary expedited shipping. Just visit fieldofgreens.com and use the code SAFETYFM to redeem your discount. That's SAFETYFM at fieldsofgreens.com. Experience nature's touch at fieldsofgreens.com/SAFETYFM. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Okay, so let's continue talking about some of the stuff that is going on inside of the world, because that is for sure. Because the people that like to play in the chat over here, let's talk about this, because I'm just going to reference it. In a TikTok video, a man said that women should help pay bills in a relationship. He made his case on why she shouldn't help pay bills. This is some other things. So take a listen to this. Would love to hear what you have to say about this on callinradio.com. Take a listen to this.
Should women help pay bills in a relationship? Yeah, no. Not even groceries, not even electricity or water bill, not even her insurance for the car, bro. Do not charge her anything. Bro, living should be free for her. She settled down with you and you're chopped and she chose you. So the least you could do is make her life equivalent to heaven. Don't ever be like, oh, you live in my house? I know so many guys who do that. You're in my house, I make the rules. All right, Mr. Macho Man, you must cook for me tonight. If the bathroom is not clean when I get home tonight, we will have problems. Make her life easier, not harder. Ladies, if your man ever makes you worry about a payment, something that is a necessity, I'm not gonna lie, I'm sorry, but you're settling for less. I don't care what you say.
Okay, so there you go. Callinradio.com. I would love to hear your opinion on that one, because I think that one is going to get kind of interesting. We'll do another one before it's all said and done, because I always think it's an interesting time when we start talking about the world of the weird. No doubt about that one. Let's get into some main news stories right away, because I think that this is going to be important. So take a listen to this. Delta says that the recent government shutdown cost the airline about $200 million in pre-tax profit, knocking 25 cents off of its quarterly earnings per share as ticket bookings dropped. Despite the hit, the 2026 booking remains strong. The shutdown also worsened the national air traffic controller shortage, with the presidential administration ordering airlines to reduce schedules at 40 major airports while controlling work without steady pay. It's really kind of how it works. I mean, think about this real quick. You're in an industry that has told you that you need to work regardless of getting paid or not. Some people are going to have a hard time with that. Just kind of how it goes. I mean, let's just not lie about it. So there you go. Okay, let's continue inside of there real quick, talking about some of the stuff related to the government. The president blasted Biden administration for fuel economy standards as unrealistic. The essential EV mandate, announcing he has canceled EPA rules limiting vehicle emissions. He says that the move will save Americans $109 billion over 5 years, lowering the cost of new cars by $1,000 each, and give automakers freedom to build what buyers actually want. Ford CEO Jim Farley and Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy praised the shift as aligning with regulations with the market reality and customers' choice. Biden had previously raised fuel economy targets after Obama increased them and then Trump lowered them in his first term. Trump argues that current standards aren't achievable without a mass EV adoption, and as he's already cut EV incentives in his second term as Congress removed the federal tax credits. He teased a policy a day earlier, saying that he's reviewing the U.S. auto industry. The regulatory changes still need formal agency approval, so we'll see what happens there. That's for sure. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the. Let me give you one more real quick. The administration just slapped 6 more states: Delaware, Maryland, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington, with lawsuits for allegedly refusing to hand over the statewide voter registration list. That brings the running total to 14, nearly all led by Democrats. The Justice Department says that these states are blocking enforcement of federal election laws, including National Voter Registration Act, Help America Vote Act, the Civil Rights Act of 1960s. The DOJ officials argue that clean, accurate voter rolls are essential for election security and accuse states of failing to maintain them. On the other side, voting rights groups and immigration advocates are warming up to the administration's push for full access to voter files as invasive and could damage public trust, especially with the data going to Homeland Security. Attorney General Pam Bondi says states aren't following basic voter rolls requirements, and the DOJ will keep filing lawsuits until they do. Assistant AG echoes that states refusing compliance are obstructing the department's job to keep the election accurate. These new lawsuits follow earlier actions against California, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania, plus previous cases targeting Oregon and Maine. Of the largest groups, only Vermont and New Hampshire have Republican governors. The rest of the Democrats run. So there you go. I don't know. So a lot of stuff going on for sure as we are taking a look into that one. So there you go. What do you think about this whole thing? I think it's going to be some interesting times. That is for sure.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yeah. Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that, as we are talking about some of the news of the weird. So let's start getting into some, I guess let's get into some strange stuff for a moment. Take a listen to this. A Las Vegas tourist hit the jackpot literally on Thanksgiving. The Fontainebleau Las Vegas, they slapped $25 into the high-limit Dragon Link slot and walked away with $1.15 million. The winner stayed anonymous and probably to avoid the long-lost cousin suddenly. Yeah, this happened in Vegas, like I said, on Thanksgiving. So $25 got you $1.15 million. Not a bad deal if you're really thinking about it when it's all said and done. Could you imagine kind of hanging out, doing some stuff, and then boom, you are $1.15 million richer? I think that is a good day. Doesn't sound like a bad time whatsoever in regards to what is going on inside of the world there for you. What do you think? I mean, I think it gets interesting right away when it's all said and done. I'm just saying. So as we're going through this holiday season, how are you feeling about all the stuff that's going on? I'm just asking. And, some people say that there's this level of etiquette in regards to this. So let's talk about a couple of things. Let's go into this. Is it rude to buy holiday gifts in bulk? So here's what etiquette experts say. Buying a gift in bulk is fine online or when it's isn't in high demand. But stores, especially with limited editions or low stock items, grabbing everything can come off as selfish. Be mindful of other shoppers. Consider the store size and follow the golden rule. Don't wipe out the shelves if others clearly want the item too. Etiquette experts say that the biggest mistakes: mentioning the price, expecting a gift in return, downplaying your own gift, giving thoughtless or over-personalized items. Let's see. Regifting too obviously choosing gifts based on your own taste instead of the other of the recipients, and giving gifts at awkward times. Thoughtfulness and timeliness matters when it's all said and done. I don't know. You know what I've done for years is that I will find one item that I think is a good idea, and I'll say, hey, this is probably what we need to do across the board. And it's so much easier in doing that. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier this week. I was telling the person, it's so much easier that if you're going to give something, just to kind of like donate money to charity in their name. I think it's so much easier to do that, but that's my opinion. I know not everybody's going to agree with that, but I think that it kind of goes further in regards of, what you're trying to get across sentiment wise. I'm just saying, what do you think about this? I think it gets interesting. For sure. But I don't know. I'm just saying. A lot of stuff. So let's talk about this real quick, because a lot of people will run into this issue during the holiday season. So let's talk about how mailing services work. So holiday shipping deadlines for USPS, FedEx, and UPS. Holiday shopping is about to hit full panic mode, and here are what the big three are saying. So this are the official deadlines and drop-offs. USPS is fully geared up for the surge, hiring 14,000 seasonal workers and insisting it is prepped to handle an avalanche of packages. For deliveries by December the 25th in the mainland, the U.S. cutoff are the following dates. Ground Advantage in First Class Mail is December the 17th. Priority Mail is December the 18th. Priority Mail Express is December the 20th. Alaska and Hawaii are basically the same, with the ground bumped a day earlier. And then international and military deadlines for USPS wants by checking out their site so you don't have to blame your grandma's sweater misses the boat. Just saying. Also, FedEx rolled out a full menu of drop dead dates depending on how fast you need the box moving. So here's how it goes. Home or ground 5-day service, December the 17th, 4-day service, the 18th of December, 3-day service, the 19th of December, 2-day service, the 22nd of December, and then 1 day in all overnight options, December the 23rd. Same day is December the 21st because some of you are, love danger. And then ground economy is December the 15th. Extra notes, home deliveries runs daily with a $5.15 residential surcharge because of course it does. And then UPS is saying this. If you want 3-day selects, it's December the 19th. If you want a 2-day air, it's December the 22nd. And next day air is December the 23rd. Ground depends on where you're shipping, and their site gives the exact dates. International, check their sites because that's the way you don't actually end up messing up the thing, and you don't end up sending an ornament for next year's Christmas, opposed to what is going on this week. That is for sure. So, what do you think about the whole thing? I think it gets interesting. I mean, I'm not going to lie. What are you shipping? I use Amazon shipping. It's the easiest way of doing it. So there you go. That's just the way to look at some of the stuff. So let's talk about this real quick. We do this on Thursday. So we talk about this lovely benchmark that's called the self-help tip. Take a listen to this.
A positive mental attitude can clear away all obstacles which stand between you and your major purpose in life.
Actions, not mere words, determine the validity of a man's living philosophy.
But the other lesson of life that is rarely mastered is the art of fulfillment.
Yep, the art of fulfillment. So listen to this. Stop trying to control every detail. Incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. You could micromanage your life into the grave and still end up with chaos. The truth, most things are outside your authority and other people's reaction. The weather, the past, timing, luck, and yet burn energy trying to puppet master everything. The real winner here is to focus on what they influence, their effort, their preparation, and their response. Controls of what yours release was and it isn't. Because that's the stuff to think about. And the less that you cling on to stuff, the more powerful you actually are when it's all said and done. So what do you think? I don't know. I think it gets interesting. I'm not going to lie here in regards of what's going on. So there you go. Some stuff happening inside of this. So let's continue to go all over the place here. Take a listen to this. The FBI is sounding an alarm for U.S. email users, especially Gmail and Outlook, as holiday scams surge. Cyber criminals are flooding inboxes with schemes that trick people into clicking malicious, handling over personal information, or sending money that vanishes instantly. The agency says that 4 scams spike every holiday. Non-delivery scams you pay and nothing arrives. Non-payment scams you ship and you never pay. Auction fraud, you receive something different than advertised. And gift card fraud, criminals demand payment via prepaid cards. The numbers are ugly. In 2024, Americans lost $785 million to non-payments and non-delivery scams, plus another $199 million to credit card fraud. Complaints always jump during the holidays. Also, the FBI also warns that there are major rise of accounts takeovers, ATO attacks, criminals pretending to be a bank or support rep to steal login information. Since January of 2025, over 5,100 ATO complaints have been reported, with more than 262 million lost. Scammers push fake banking sites through emails, text calls, and even search engines. Once they get your login or one-time passcode, they lock you out and empty your accounts, often moving money through crypto. The FBI advice: don't click on suspicious links or attachments. And if any email asks you for update your account, call the company using your lookup, the number that you looked up yourself. Also, at first sign of fraud, contact your bank, request recall or reversal, ask to hold harmless letter or letter of indemnity. Also, file a report immediately with the FBI Internet Criminal Complaint Center, IC3, and reset your passwords and connect to compromised accounts. And any account using the same password that is probably something you need to change immediately. I know it gets kind of weird. It gets kind of weird during this time of the year, just in regards of all of the stuff that you have to be on the lookout for is what it sounds like. So what do you think? Just one of those weird ones, I just have to tell you. So take a listen to this one as well. Tinder dropped the New Year in swipe report, and the big headline, AI has officially become everyone's wingman. A hefty 76% of users admit that they'll use AI somewhere in their dating life. What for? The experts at the app found that 76% of users admitted they use AI in their dating journey. Tinder found that people are eager to use AI in order to promote their best selves. Most use of AI date ideas is 39%, select their best photos 28%, and providing bio prompts. Let me ask a question here, because I just don't know. You can actually ask it to tell you what is the best picture for your profile? Or does it just create a profile picture if you're using AI? I'm just asking, because I'll put it to you this way. We use some level of chat GPT inside of the studio. And I will tell you, I can put a picture of somebody that I'm interviewing or talking to or whatever, and this thing will try to generate something entirely different that looks nothing like the person that I interviewed, and I never understand it. So I'm just trying to figure out how exactly does the system figure out that this is the right person to put on there? That's the other thing that I'd probably need to have some serious consideration for. Anyways, let's talk about the Dow real quick, because I think that that's important for some people. The Dow gained about 408 points to close at 47,882 on Wednesday. The S&P increased by 20 points to close at 6,849. And the NASDAQ increased by 40 points to close at 23,454. West Texas Intermediate closed at $59 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $62 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $2.99 on Wednesday, and Bitcoin gained up about 1.8%, trading right around $93,000. And Friday night's Mega Million drawing, are you ready for this? Will be for a $50 million jackpot or a $23.3 million cash payout. So there you go. What do you think? A lot of stuff, huh? A lot of stuffer uppers in regards of what's going on. Anyways, we're close enough to do that thing that we do around here that we call our main story. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, some main story time stuff to talk about. And, today is one of those things that we have to talk about. There is a moment in every career, every job, every role where you wake up one morning and something in your gut fully admits that your brain has been denying for months. You aren't growing anymore. Not because you stopped trying, not because you've run out of ideas, but because environment around you has quietly stopped moving. You know what I'm talking about. Transitions rarely start loud. Let's just be realistic about it. They start with friction, small but subtle, almost impossible to articulate what's going on at first. And then you go into work and notice that excitement that you used to feel is now replaced with some kind of mental shrug. The projects look the same, the conversations sound the same, and the challenges, they've become copy and paste versions of last year's challenges. There's a word for that. Plateau. Yes, plateau. But plateau doesn't show up overnight. It builds slowly, brick by brick, moment by moment. Just the reality on how it works. And it shows up the first time you offer an idea and the response is, yeah, but that's not how we do things here. You've heard that answer before. I think we all have heard that answer before in some way, shape, or form. And it shows up when you realize your biggest contribution is fixing problems you've already fixed 3 times. It shows up when you catch yourself explaining over and over again why change matters to people who have no intentions on changing. And it really shows up when you start telling you, just keep steady. Don't rock the boat. Or maybe next quarter. Or the subtle ways to saying, we're done evolving. Please evolve quietly. Shh. Don't say anything. You outgrow the system, but the system doesn't have the capacity or the courage to grow with you. And at first, you don't want to accept that because, well, let's see, leaving feels dramatic, it feels risky, it feels selfish. You tell yourself you can hang on, you can be patient, and you can make it work. But you start bargaining. You kind of already know that. I'll give you a few more months. If I just get a yes on this project, if I just tolerate this one more leader, if I just lower my expectations a little bit, you've told yourself these things. But here's the part that no one tells you. Every time you lower your expectations to say, you shrink part of yourself. And that's what you're trying to rise above from. Plateaus don't just stall growth. They cause growth. They are a cost to your growth. And there's a moment where the cost becomes too high. And some people don't realize that until it's too late. Some people reach the moment when they're sitting in another meeting that should have been an email. Yeah, because those are pretty often. People hit the random Tuesday morning when the routine task suddenly feels like a burden. Some people feel it at the moment that they start using phrases like, it is what it is, and just get through the day. And that is fine. And though nothing is about fine, I mean, that's kind of how that goes. But most people, the real turning point is subtle. It's when the job stops asking the best version of you and starts accepting the dullest version of you. Yeah, that does happen because that's the stagnation does. It normalizes mediocrity. It rewards compliance. It punishes curiosity. And the longer you stay in that environment, that doesn't change you. The more you forget what you're capable of doing outside of it. It isn't about you failing. It's that space no longer has room for you to succeed. I mean, think about it. It's kind of common what I'm telling you here. People rarely leave environments because of one big event. They leave because of accumulation of small realizations, the slow erosion of purpose, the quiet noticing that if you're no longer becoming better, you're just becoming busier. You start counting down instead of looking forward. You start managing instead of creating. You start maintaining instead of improving. And maintenance feels safe. You realize that you've been maintaining yourself into a corner. Now let's talk about the part that no one likes to admit. Most people know long before they act. It's the reality of the situation. They know plateau is real. They know that they've hit the ceiling. They know that the next step isn't up, it's out. But they stay because leaving requires something most people aren't taught to practice. And you want me to tell you what that is? It's self-trust. We're told loyalty is noble. Commitment is respected. Patience is a virtue. All of it's true. I mean, I'm not lying we're not lying as you hear this until it becomes an excuse to deny your own potential. At some point, loyalty becomes a self-abandonment. Commitment becomes stagnation, and patience becomes paralysis. Leaving isn't betrayal. Leaving is an acknowledgement. You've done what you came to do. And here's the signal. Here's the part that I want people to hear. A plateau doesn't mean failure. It means completion. You've completed the version of your work. You've completed that chapter of your career. You've created an excitement of an environment that had to an offer for you. Duh. The mistake isn't leaving. The mistake is staying after the work has already been completed. Because the longer you stay on plateau, the more you convince yourself that flat ground is all you deserve. But it isn't. You don't plateau because you're not good enough. You plateau because the environment reached the limit, not you. The voice in your head telling you it's time to go, that's not fear. That's not impatience. That's not restlessness. That's the beginning of your next chapter trying to speak. And here's the good news. Every plateau looks like an ending from the inside, but actually a gateway from the outside. People think that leaving means walking away from something, but in reality, leaving is walking towards something that has room for the version that you are trying to emerge to. So if you're listening and you've been feeling, that little tension that shows up, that quiet discomfort, that sense of your role has become too small for the size of your ideas, I'll tell you that nobody in your organization will. You're not imagining it. You're not overthinking it. You're not being dramatic. You're evolving, and the environment isn't. And when evolution meets resistance, the signal is simple. Move. Not recklessly, not impulsively, not intentionally. Your next opportunity won't come from pretending that you're still growing in the place that you've already reached the maximum capacity. Your next opportunity comes from stepping into the unknown with the understanding that plateaus aren't punishment. They're invitations. Invitations to rise, invitations to shift, invitations to leave the familiar and meet the version of yourself you were supposed to become. The plateau isn't the problem. The plateau is the signal. I know some people are not going to love that, but that's kind of how it goes. And some signals aren't meant to be fixed. Some signals are meant to be followed.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking the truth.
Okay, welcome to the fake world. Yeah, you thought you were escaping a fake world, but no, you're right here on the Rated R Safety Show, hanging out with me on this lovely Thursday. Yeah, it is 45 minutes past the top of the hour. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, that's what's built in-house, so can't find it anywhere. It's like I just fell asleep and I'm stuck inside. I really need to do something with all this music. You wake up and you die. Yeah, it's a fake world, so there you go. You see, the problem is I start getting involved with these songs and I don't want to stop them, and that becomes an issue because then we start running late and further behind on the show. I know it becomes a whole cluster F when it's all said and done, but that's my doing. So anyway, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. So let's do that right now. And that's about my friends at Right Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And we want you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you'll see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support. So there you go. TWLOHA.com. I'll tell you, I wear a lot of their stuff, meaning talking about a lot of their gear because I think that their messaging is so important. If you're watching the video feed today, you will notice that I have Para escribir amor en sus brazos. That is the Spanish version of To Write Love on Our Arms, because that's how much, I really enjoy the information that they're trying to spread, because I think mental health is so important to talk about. It is one of these things that we should talk about all the time, but it seems to be limited sometimes in regards on how it's actually handled. So as much as we can help spread this information, the more and more important I see it being, because I think it's just such an important aspect in regards of what to do. By the way, thank you for all the people that are reaching out via callinradio.com about if women should pay during a relationship. Take a listen to this one. You might find this one weird if you want to still contact us via call-in radio. Take a listen to this. A woman from Orange County, it doesn't say which Orange County, but I'm just going to say that, thought that she was sipping water like a civilized human with a fancy glass and straw, and then she basically tried to assassinate her from inside. Bernard O'Brien felt a weird thing in her throat, then spotted the tip of the straw. It chipped off, and surprise, ended up swallowing 2-centimeter shard of glass. At first, no pain. 2 hours later, blood in her mouth. Then a burp double as the crime scene, which sent her spitting into the ER. Doctors didn't take it serious at first until they saw the scan and confirmed that there was a chunk of glass chilling in her stomach. They rushed into an endoscopy. But by the time that they got there, the shard had already passed through. She had been sent home with instructions to watch for blood and pain, because apparently hope doesn't slice your guts on the way out. It actually a medical plan. Now, she posted on TikTok the ordeal, hit nearly 30 million views, and instantly became the patron of do not use glass straws. Rihanna appeared on Inside Edition yesterday as well. So what is the weirdest thing that she swallowed? Here's what Brianna had to say about the incident.
Don't use glass straws. It broke. One night I was just chugging the last of my water and I felt something go down my throat and I was like, what is that? And so I pulled out my straw and I saw that a chunk was missing on the end.
Oh, so you actually sucked up the glass shard through the straw?
Yes. They said it had already went past the most dangerous parts. It most likely would just come out naturally on its own.
Yeah, pass on that. That's for sure. Let's not do naturally on our own with a piece of glass inside of our system. Just saying. So there you go. CallinRadio.com. What is the weirdest thing that you've ever swallowed? Yep, I did say that out loud, so don't worry about that. Let's talk about something a little bit more positive. Let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Adam. T.S. Eliot said, "Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go." Very nice. If you're in it to win it, you need to know that you got to hang in there. Even when you want to give up, you need to keep going. Even when you want to quit. If you can hang in there, you never know when success is right around the corner or over the next hill. I've worked with people who've given up just short of winning. They sold their business when it was floundering. We were helping them grow, but they took an offer that came along, and then the business started doing really well. Sadly, the new owners were the ones who were really able to cash in.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Putin ramped up the pressure on Europe, accusing leaders of wrecking a possible Ukraine peace deal.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is charging that European governments watered down a draft peace plan and blocked progress on ending the war. He is due to sit down in Moscow with U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, who is carrying Washington's proposals. Ukrainian officials say Russian forces are still attacking multiple fronts and warn any deal must guarantee long-term security. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
Pope Leo is using a high-profile trip to the Middle East to urge calm over Venezuela and call on rich nations to be less afraid of migrants.
Speaking in remarks carried by Vatican and regional media, Pope Leo said the United States should look for another way to address the crisis in Venezuela instead of using military force. He warned Western countries that fear of migrants can erode basic values and deepen global divides. Chris Anderson reporting.
Deadly conflict in and around Gaza is drawing fresh scrutiny after reports that two young brothers gathering firewood were killed by an Israeli drone strike.
Media outlets, citing local health officials and family members, say the boys were 8 and 10 years old and had been sent out by their father to collect wood when they were hit. Israeli authorities have not publicly released detailed findings on the specific incident, but say operations target militant threats. Humanitarian groups are again highlighting the dangers civilians face in crowded conflict zones. Benjamin Wright reporting.
A massive winter storm is pounding the eastern United States, bringing heavy snow, ice, and strong winds to tens of millions of people.
Forecasters say the system is strengthening rapidly into a bomb cyclone as it tracks up the East Coast. After already triggering hundreds of crashes in the Midwest, airlines have delayed or canceled thousands of flights, leaving passengers stranded and scrambling to rebook. State and local officials from Missouri to New England are urging drivers to stay off slick roads. Kyle Norris reporting.
The White House is facing intense questions over a U.S. military operation that included a second strike on a suspected Venezuelan drug boat.
Officials say the first September strike disabled the vessel, but the focus is now on a follow-up attack that reportedly hit survivors in the water. President Donald Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth both insist they did not authorize or know about the second strike in advance. Lawmakers from both parties are calling for hearings. Kevin Sanders reporting.
The Trump administration's immigration crackdown is moving into another American city as Homeland Security officials expand enforcement actions.
According to updates from National
national outlets, a new phase of workplace and community operations is rolling out, while court challenges over earlier raids continue. Civil rights advocates say the sweeps are separating families and straining local services, and they are pressing judges to halt some tactics. Administration officials argue the steps are needed to enforce existing law. Lawrence Keller reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
More hits to help you work. Because to get rich, you gotta work hard.
Yeah, dude, like I just made so much money that I could just sit around on my ass all day and play video games.
Wait, I forgot about Dogecoin.
Dogecoin rules!
Okay, so there you go. 54 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's start talking right away about some things that happened back on this date. As I take a look around, let's see. Back in 1996, NASA's first Mars rover launched from Cape Canaveral. That happened back on this date, so there you go. If you want to talk about some celebrity birthdays going on today, let's talk about some of those. Chris Hillman turns 81, Jeff Bridges 76, Marissa Tomei turns 61, Jay-Z turns 56, Tyra Banks turns 52. So there you go. There's some birthdays for you for today. Let's see, what else? Things you ought to know. Former NBA center Eldon Campbell, who spent 15 years in the league, has died. He was 57. No word was given for the cause of his death. Campbell was selected by the Lakers in his first round in 1990 NBA draft from Clemson, where he still holds the school all-time scoring record, led the Tigers to 3 NCAA tournament appearances. Campbell spent 8+ seasons with the Lakers and then was traded to the Charlotte Hornets in 1999, averaging a career high of 15.3 points per game and 9.4 rebounds per game after the trade. He also played for Seattle Supersonics, Detroit Pistons, the New Jersey Nets, and won an NBA championship with the Pistons back in 2004. So there you go. Also, the United States Institute of Peace, a 41-year-old agency that works with nation's executive branch to resolve violent conflicts abroad, has been renamed for President Donald Trump. The U.S. Department announced the social media yesterday, "Welcome to the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace." The department said on X the best is yet to come. The Post described the president as the greatest deal maker of our nation's history. So there you go. Also, frigid temperatures are expected to impact much of the central eastern United States in the coming weeks. The first of 3 polar vortex systems is expected this month, according to AccuWeather. The surges of Arctic air will generate rounds of flurries and squalls in certain locations and may assist igniting storms and more widespread snow. The upper Midwest and the northern plains are going to be the one mostly affected here as we are talking today. Wind chills are between -10 and -25 degrees will be expected, and cold temperatures are expected to continue tomorrow for those in the eastern U.S. Here are last night's winning Powerball numbers. Jackpot was $775 million. Numbers were 1, 14, 20, 46, 51. Powerball was 26. Power Play was 3. And since there was no jackpot winners, Saturday night's jackpot climbs to 820. If you need some words of wisdom for today, life is like riding a bicycle. You don't fall off unless you stop pedaling. So there you go. Anyways, this is going to be the end of the show. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm for the next couple hours or so. If you want to come and hang out with me, you're more than welcome on doing that. If not, you can stay here and hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. If I can leave you with a little bit of advice for today, slip old socks over your wiper blades at night. They won't freeze to the windshield, and your morning mood might survive. So there you go. Some stuff that's going on. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
Just in another dream. When you finally wake up